Hello, lovely people. How are we today? It is today. What day is it today? I don't even know the date. It's 25th of April. Wow, how the year has flown by already. We're in the 4th month of April, and it feels exactly the same as last year. Lockdown. Yes. So it's nearly May. It's May next week. Bloody hell. That's so we've got bank holiday in the UK. May Day. Yes. Oh, me thingy fell down then. I do apologise, it's on the stand. You got to see the underneath of a shelf in the dungeon. Welcome to the dungeon. Yes, it's had some nice weather. As you can see, the sun's out again. There's a bit of a breeze, but it's quite nice to have a little bit of sun. Bit of vitamin D, it's all good for you. Pepsi Max. Or a shit pint of Guinness, depends on your perspective. It's Pepsi Max. Yeah, how are we all? Are we well? I know some of you have been a bit light on the messages. Nobody's really coming back at me, replying back to me. You gotta reply back to me when if you don't, you know that. Not everybody's as bad as me. I'm sometimes excellent at replying at messages. Sometimes I'm really bad. Most of the time I'm pretty good. Sometimes it's what it is. With me, I have to know what I want to say. So, like, you know, if it's just a general this and that conversation, like the light conversation that you have via text, then it's okay. It's all good. Then I'll probably reply quite quickly. Yeah, it's all good. Then sometimes I have to. If it's a bit deeper, then I have to know what I want to say, rather than me just doing it off the cuff. So I do not plan them out. Like, yeah, oh right, I'll do 3 drafts and then send them in. No, I'll plan them out in terms of I know exactly what I'm going to say. But yeah, I hope everybody's okay. I hope they're feeling okay. I hope in the UK anyway, the restrictions haven't been too. I mean, well, obviously there's been a lifting of restrictions. I hope that's been good. Hoping it's been good for people that they've been able to sort of see people, socialise a little bit with people safely and effectively. It was a bit crazy when. Well, I didn't understand. So no, if you whatever you believe, you believe. I mean, I was watching. What did I look at yesterday? Because I haven't seen it in ages. Space is fake. That's always a good one. There's a group of people that thinks I've talked about this before. Not on this one. I think I talked about it with Ant. That space doesn't exist, and that's a nice little rabbit hole to go down if you're feeling bored and you feel like a laugh. Thing is that they put really convincing on, like, you know how the production value on some of the stuff that they do is like, wow, it must be, you know, when somebody shows you something it looks good, and it's compelling, then, isn't it? And you think, that could be no, it's not. If you actually look at the science, I'll still stick with the scientists and the doctors before I start taking that advice from the older Dave off of Facebook and, you know, Nigel from YouTube, who says the Earth's flat, right? Because I can't see down there, it ain't round. That was a bit of Black Country there. But yeah. But it's all good fun. But yeah, so they had these anti-lockdown protests in London. And I understand, I was thinking about this before. Okay, I understand the frustration. Especially when you see in other countries, in certain places, like in America, there's certain states that haven't had as strict lockdown rules and then they've been alright. Or they've been the same as people, the states that have had it. But then, you know, there's lots of things to take into account. Like, I suppose climate's one of those things. But the amount of people that are there and the in and out of that place. Of, you know, if the people coming from other places and some, yeah. But I mean, there's all sorts of factors on that. There's stuff that I don't know as well. But there's plenty of stuff that I don't know. But they had these. So I don't understand why they had to have it this weekend. Why? I mean, when they know that in June most of the restrictions are going to be lifted anyway. In the UK, why don't they just wait or just not do it, because aren't they just exacerbating a good word? Exacerbating the problem. So they're giving, because their rhetoric is that the government's doing this on purpose. Why they would do it on purpose, I'm not sure. In terms of destroying the economy of the country, but you know, there's probably all sorts of ins and outs of that one. But so they're saying that the government's got too much control. Blah 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 blah. They're giving the government an excuse to put more rules down by doing these lockdowns, and it got a little bit violent from what I saw as well. There were some clashes with the police and stuff, and when if there's a point in the next 3 weeks, 4 weeks, so what are we? We're the next lot of restrictions in the UK lift on, I think, the 17th of May, which is what, 3 weeks away. So in 3 weeks' time, within the next 3 weeks, if there's a rise in cases, they'll correlate that straight back to those protests, because there's thousands of people there, and they will, and you know, and there'll be other factors as well. But one of the big things they'll point out is that, and they're basically, and then they could say, okay, we have to push this date there, but for the restrictions have to stay for a bit longer now because of that. They're just giving them an excuse. So why don't you just wait till May at least, or you know, when more restrictions, and then June, which is what 6 weeks away, 6 weeks, I think June. I'm saying I want to say the 21st. I could be wrong, but around that time, they said most of the restrictions that have been placed will be lifted. So the social, obviously there'll still be social distancing rules and stuff like that. That's up to you to sort those out. But just in terms of like meeting people and seeing people, and you know, going out and stuff like that, and going to people's houses, most of those restrictions are going to be lifted. So why can't you just wait a few weeks? Why did you have to, you know what I'm saying? I suppose the weather's nice, but it was like thousands of people, and there were, so they're all going to be anti-lockdown, then we're going to be anti-mask and anti-vax and all that. So do you guarantee that the majority of them haven't got a vaccine, or aren't sort of got the vaccine? The majority, because they don't believe in it, and the majority of them won't wear a mask because they don't believe in it, and they don't believe in the lockdown. So it's likely that if it was like a super spreader event, that would be the event that they'd be super spreading at. So I don't know, it's crazy. People just make me. I mean, that was my problem when I talked about when the lifting of restrictions was the idiots that were going to spoil it. But this is what happens with anything that is. It's always spoiled by the idiots. And like I say, you believe what you believe, but you know, there's a majority of the country, and they're sheep, they are. Still, you know what? Until you've got your PhD in medical, you know, you just in you're a doctor basically. If you're not, just don't give me medical advice, please. Okay, you should try this, but don't. You're not going to be. You're not prescribing me anything. I can look up things on Google myself. Yeah. Weird time we're living. It is definitely a weird time we're living. I want to travel. I want to go and see some people. Some people need to see me. They need some Dal in their life and some Batman in their life. I told Mum off today. So I've been pretty good this week. In fairness, I would say I've been really good this week with my food and stuff, and cutting. I'm trying to eliminate sugar completely from my diet. Which, I mean, not that I eat a lot of sugar anyway, but just want to get rid of it. Just be done with it. I mean, and I'm talking when you put sugar in something, not when there's sugar in a cake and there's sugar in whatever. Not that I'm going to stop eating sweet stuff, because if I fancy an ice cream, I'm going to eat an ice cream. But at the moment, I'm not having anything like that. But then there'll come to a point, when I was talking about metabolic flexibility, come to a point, if I want some cake, then my body should be able to handle it without me. I'm not going to eat cake every day, but you know what I mean. But or a biscuit or whatever, or a chocolate bar. It's nice, like a Kit Kat. I love a Kit Kat junkie. But yeah, so all week they make tea in the morning all week. No sugar in the tea. Yeah. On the weekend, for whatever reason, Mum puts sugar in the tea. And like, my wife, because when I've drank it or drank some of it, my tongue goes funny for the sugar. That's what happened now. I can feel it on my tongue. Mum, is there sugar in the tea? Because like they put a sweetener in there or something for me. So, and she goes, yeah, I put a little bit in there. I mean, so I told her off. I was just like, well, why? Well, I generally probably was a bit telling her off. She was laughing at me. It's not that she took it seriously. I said, just don't make me any tea. Just don't make me any tea. I'll just make it myself. Because like it's that first one up in the morning. In fairness, I was up early this morning because I was up for the UFC for like 3 o'clock in the morning. Oh my god, this is me changing subjects. But yeah, we didn't fall out or anything. It was just me talking about sugar in tea, and she just laughed in my face. I was like, just don't make me any. She did make me some tea afterwards, and there was no sugar in it. So see how long that lasts. But generally in the week, I mean, later on I'll make myself tea. But like when I'm working in the office, there is an office. We just call it the office. Where yeah, she'll come in and ask me if I want a cup of tea when I'm working. So, but she never puts any sugar in it then. And it's like on the weekend. What is it? Especially it's weekend. Kick back, relax, have a beer. No. But yes, UFC this weekend. Oh my god, it was a really good card. It was I had to have a nap I fell asleep about 2 o'clock. I had about an hour because it catches up with you when you wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning to watch this. I did go to sleep early, but still, it still does catch up with you. But yeah, it was. I mean, not that if you're into it, you're into it. But there was spoiler alert. I'm going to talk about something specific. There's 2 specific things in the main card. So in the UFC, they have the preliminaries. So where the not as known fighters, not as popular, the up and coming fighters. So that'll be the preliminary card. So I missed all of the prelims because that starts at like 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock. I don't know what time it started in the morning. I basically timed it perfectly for the main card. So the main card was Smith Crew, Hall Weidman, then the 3 championship fights. Yeah, so there's 5 fights. So your normal fight is 3 rounds, 3 5-minute rounds. So there was 2 non-championship. The championship fights are 5 5-minute rounds. So there was there was 1 non-championship fight. So there's 1 non-championship fight. That was a 3-rounder, and then all the rest of them. I'm sure that was 4. So there's 4 proposed 5-round fights. So the last 4 fights were, because they're all championship fights. So the first one was this. It was a fight Smith versus Crute. It's an American guy versus an Australian guy, and and Smith kicked him in the knee, and you just see his foot, his leg just kind of buckled, but then he managed to get through the round, and he wrestled him, so they were on the floor, so he didn't have to stand up. But you saw him walking back to his corner or his team at the end of the round, and he's like, he could barely put, and you could see his ankle. You know when your ankle, when your foot goes to sleep and your ankle turns. I mean, if you've ever done it, you'll feel sometimes you'll feel your ankle turn, or you sort of kind of step on the side of your ankle, and you could see that happening. It was like his foot had gone to sleep, and that happened to another fighter before. I think Henry Cejudo, but how he managed to get through. But it's basically when he kicked him, he basically he caught one of his nerves in his leg, and it's just put his foot to sleep. And he did get up for the second round. Referee and the doctor saw him, and he stood. He stood there because I'm all right, because they're full of adrenaline, and he wants to carry on, and he's a fighter at the end of the day. But you saw while he was standing there, he stepped forward, and he sees his ankle, and they said he can't carry on. He's going to break his leg, basically. He's going to break his ankle, and so Smith won. But it was shaping up to be a good fight. It was a lot of back and forth, but it was just crazy with that leg. But you see his foot; he's got no control over it. He's trying, and he's got no control over it. He's like just gone to sleep, and it's just because of a kick in his leg. And then the second fight was Chris Weidman versus Uriah Hall, and Chris Weidman's the champion. Uriah Hall was a challenger, and it was the first kick of the fight. So literally, it was literally nothing was known. They were just kind of sizing each other up, you know, going round. Weidman throws a kick. Yeah, he kick, and his shin. I'm pointing to my shin because you don't know what a shin is, and you can't even see me pointing to my shin. But his shin hits the side. So if you touch the side of your knee, and there's a thick lump of bone just below your knee. He basically kicked him there, snapped his leg off. Oh my! So Chris Weidman, the guy who was kicking, hit the other guy's leg, and Chris Weidman his leg just snapped. And it's weird when you see it, especially when you see it in slow motion. I've got the video if anybody wants it. I'll send it to you. It's crazy. But it's weird when you see it because of like start of the fight, full of adrenaline, he kicked it and it snapped, and people have noticed, and he doesn't know, his face doesn't change. He's in the fight mode, but when he puts his foot down, or when he's reset, so he's basically your leg, it snapped, and you see it snap because it like kind of wraps around his leg and then comes back again. I'm sorry about this. It's really, really graphic. There's people crying in the crowd when this happened, when they saw it. And when he puts his foot down, obviously the leg's broken, and you see it bend. You see the skin just there's no blood or anything, and then he feels it. Then when he's collapsing, you just see the pain on his face. And then even you are a Hall who there's a fighter, you don't do anything. You wait. The referee and the doctors all come in. He had to turn away. He was like basically facing the other way, kneeling on the floor, going, I can't even look. And then the commentators were talking and saying, that's crazy, it's crazy. And they did show it, and they did warn before they showed it. So we're going to show it again. Viewer discretion advised, and blah, blah, blah. But my God, it was crazy. It was a crazy injury. It happened before. It happened with Anderson Silva as well a few years ago. I remember that. I remember watching that one actually as well. It was a mad one. It was like, because I never used to watch it as much then. I watch it more now. But that was one of the fights I saw, and I saw him. He just like he same thing. He went for a kick, and the other fighter checked it. So checking it is just basically, if you're you won't feel the force of it if your foot's not planted. So you check by lifting it off the floor. So there's no anchor on the floor. And he hit his shin to shin, and it was like he just snapped, and you saw it break, and it was crazy. Look it up, Anderson Silva leg break, and this was Chris Weidman yesterday. So yeah, that's obviously a serious injury. That could lead into retirement basically. Anderson Silva did come back. He was never the same fighter again, but that's a lot of rehab and fixing of a snap, because it's a complete snap as well. But yeah, so those two were the first two fights. I was like, oh wow, this is a mad card. And then there was Valentina Shevchenko versus I can't remember. She was Brazilian. Namajunas. Rose Namajunas later on. I can't remember and they were like bigging up this Brazilian lady, because Valentina Shevchenko is a dominant champion. And she again was a dominant champion. She just ruined it. The referee stopped it. Because see, not that I've got any problem with the women's fighting game, but the women's boxing isn't as exciting as the women's MMA fighting. I would rather watch a card of the women's, because they're scary ladies, man. These are scary ladies, and you know what? And they just go for it. They go for it. And this Valentina Shevchenko, I mean, Joe Rogan, he says to her, like, you are one of the greatest martial artists in the world, because she is. She's just like on a level, good at everything, and she just dominated that fight. And there's like, who are you going to fight now? It's like, whoever wants to fight me, basically, bring them on. I don't care. I'll fight anybody. And she did that. And then the other one was Zhang Weili, who's the champion, Chinese, versus Rose Namajunas. I can't remember. I can't pronounce their names, but they call her Thug Rose, and she'd lost the championship, and she was like, this was her comeback, and she won with a knockout in the first technical knockout, they call it, in the first round, which was a hell of a. But it was like, I love. One of the things I look, when it means something, when it means something is when it's just the emotional comes out when you've won. And she was just in tears. She made Joe Rogan cry when he was interviewing her as well, because like you kind of, that emotion. There's an emotion within the place, and she was like, it was one of those. It was like it was nice. It was a nice moment for her to win that, and it was to retain that, because that was her title originally, and she lost it a few years ago. But she's yeah, it was really emotional. You can see it in her face, but like how much it meant, and that's what I think. That's what sport's about, isn't it? It's like when you see that emotion, win or lose or draw. It's like when you see that emotion coming out, it's like it means something. It's not just another thing. It's just not just another notch. It's like this means this, and all the work that they put in, because we only see the 4 or 5 minutes or 10 minutes or 15 minutes or 20 minutes that they're fighting, but the work that they put in camp. But yeah, whatever I was saying, I just got this distracted as usual when I'm sitting in there. But yeah, it was good. I enjoyed it, and it kind of hyped me up. And the main event was Kamaru Usman versus Jorge Masvidal, which was it was quite funny because a lot of the experts called it. I mean, a lot of them called it for Usman, but not the way that they thought, and everybody was like kind of shocked by the end of it, going, "Oh, he won by KO. That we never saw that coming." But he's one of my favourite fighters, Kamaru Usman, and yeah, he was next. He's next level. I like it. I like fights. I know a lot of people don't like the fight sports, but I like them. They're fun. As long as nobody's hitting me in the face, it's fine. But then again, I do want to do a martial art, so somebody might be hitting me in the face. Might be able to straighten my nose. You reckon I should get my nose away? Double break. It's been broken twice. That's why it's. I've got my cartilage. I'm not going to do it, but my cartilage is all loose at my nose. But I can breathe. I can breathe okay. But I know that this side is more open than this side. A bit of a. I think I've said how I've broken my nose before, so. Yeah, one was when I was younger, hit a windowsill and broke it, and the other one was when I got kicked in the face, which is an old story itself. At school, when I was in junior school, I think I was about 7, 8, probably about 8 years old. Kicked in the face, maybe 8, 9, thereabouts, yeah. And yeah, so and that was it. That's why I've got a, as my mum calls it, a samosa nose, because it looks like a samosa. That's what you'll see now. You'll see a samosa on my face every time you see me. But yeah, not a lot been happening really, apart from the usual walking. I'm not training just because this. I'm hoping to get back into something this week actually, because it's not as this pain that I've been getting, and the doctor said it's more of a strain than anything else that I need to be worrying about. And it has eased off more than it. I mean, I still feel it, but it's not as it was before. But yes, it's so I want to do something. I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm going to do this week, but I will be getting back into some kind of training, because you kind of have to couple this eating with training to get it fully effective. Well, I think I've been bitten by stuff. I definitely got something up here. Something's bitten me like that. Something bitten me yesterday. There was loads of. Was it yesterday or Friday? Oh, yeah, I didn't go walk yesterday. I washed the cars yesterday. It was Friday when I walked. There was so many flies about in certain places. I'm sweating. It was horrible. I hate flies. But yeah, it's a bit like that. So, otherwise it's just work. How are you? What have you been up to? Really? That's nice. You should message me, tell me, speak to me. If you wanna speak to me, I'm available on all the. If you got my number, or you can email me, because my email address is on here, or you can Instagram message me, or whatever you want to do, or just don't. Just leave me alone. Yeah, I think this lockdown's creating hermits as well. People just like have got used to not seeing people. Personally, I don't think that's healthy. But then, you know, if that's what you want to do, that's what you want to do. I think you need to see people. I think we're social animals. We need to socialise a bit more. It makes you feel better. It does make you feel better. And also, if you're mental support for somebody, you need support yourself. Don't forget that. You know I'm talking to you. Yeah, so because we kind of helping other people out, you take on some of that yourself, even though it's nothing to do with you. You kind of take it on. You take on that emotion, I think it is, and it drains you, and then it makes you feel bad, and then you kind of get into that. So you need your buffer as well, or you can go back and forth with the person that you're helping out. Just, you know, because sometimes you just need someone to talk to, and get those feelings out, get it out in the universe. That's what they say, is getting it out. Once you've kind of talked about whatever you want to talk about, even if it's not that specific thing, it's just talking about stuff. It makes you feel better. It definitely makes me feel better. I talk to some people too much, and I just talk shit most of the time. But it makes me feel better. I can go, I saw this, and it's basically what I do on this, just talk shit. Yeah, I can, as you know, I've got the old verbal diarrhea. Fact is, I could sit here for half an hour and talk to myself. I'm literally looking at myself, talking to myself. That's why I look away. I talk to the wall. I talk to this, but I have to access my memory banks as well. They're not that well stocked. Well, they are, and they're not. But you know, it takes me a bit of time. I'm getting older. But I finished watching that Sisyphus. I think that's how you say it. It's that Korean time travel one. It's pretty good, actually. It's pretty decent. I think they probably could have. They didn't need to have. They could have probably done that in about 14 or 15. No, maybe less than that, because I think it was 16 episodes. But every episode was like an hour and something. It was like hour and 15 minutes, hour and 10 minutes. So I think they could have reduced the size of that. That could have been down to about. I would say 12 or 13. They probably could have done that. They were a bit. They could have been trimmed, some of those episodes. I think they could have reduced that down, and the story probably would have flowed a bit quicker. But yeah, it was still good. I enjoyed it. It was funny. It was interesting. It was good sci-fi, good time travel sci-fi. But it's Korean, so you have to read the film. You have to read it. So yeah, that was pretty decent. What did I start watching? I don't know. I'm always watching something. You know that. I know some people that watch this know about, because they coined it themselves with the wormhole. Because they used to say that I watched so much stuff, and they didn't know how I could watch so much stuff. And so they said that I had a wormhole. So I would go into this wormhole, where time is completely different to everywhere else, and catch up and watch all these programs, and then get out the wormhole and go to normal time. Because it says it's physically impossible for me to watch all of this stuff in the time that I have, but I still managed it. I still do. I still watch loads of stuff. I think I've told the story before. I'll just quickly, before I disappear. I remember when we were younger. I can't remember how old I was, and we had this thing, and they said that you had to write. So it was like what you do during the day and stuff like that. And then one of the things was that writing how many hours a day that you watch television. Right, and I'm like working it out, going, okay, so get up in the morning and have a breakfast, watch Big Breakfast in the morning. So it was probably when we were Wolverhampton, so I was at senior school, so it was probably about in my teens, in my early teens. So I'm like, okay, I'll get up. So I used to get up like, I didn't have to get out of the house till 8 o'clock, or just after 8 to get the bus to go to school. So I would get up like in and around 7 o'clock, get ready downstairs, have cereal or whatever, and watch TV. So probably get about an hour or so of TV in the morning, and then when I got home for about 4 o'clock, then I've got a good 2 hours of TV while I've got the TV to myself. But I also had the TV in my room, so I'd have something to eat, go and play with mates, come back and then watch TV till about sort of 10, 11 o'clock. So I'm working it all out. I do about 6 to 8 hours a day, and then on weekends it's more, because if I'm not playing out, I'm watching TV at home or on the computer or whatever, because I have my little or consoles or whatever. And I'm looking at everybody else. It's like they put 2, whether they were lying or not. But everybody else's, the average was like 3 to 4 hours, and I'm like, well, how am I watching double the TV of everybody else? It stems from there. I must have had a wormhole. Yeah. So it never went away. But TV has taught me so much. I love TV. TV has taught me so much. TV was my friend. Yes. There's messages coming on WhatsApp because one of my cousins has watched the UFC, and he's putting messages like, "Oh mate, that was crazy." But yeah. But anyway, so what we're gonna do? I've managed to ramble on for half an hour. I didn't realise I was in the 20s before. So somebody messaged me saying that they watch this in the evening and it puts them to sleep. Not because I'm boring, because I'm not boring, because I've got a soothing voice. So so they say. I don't know. I'll leave that. That's a matter of opinion. Yeah. But yes, so I hope this finds you well. I hope to see you soon, and I will bid you adieu. See you later. Bye bye.